correspondingly, a local web developer is working on an app that will collect videos of the city's hostile bike infrastructure. Because if you're a bicyclist through the city of Chicago, day in and day out, you hear about these horrific accidents. Some are fatal, some are just injuring bicyclists, but obviously they don't think they're getting a fair shake. And an avid bicyclist, Ben Harvey, is testing a new app called ridereel, which will ask bicyclists to upload videos of scary situations that they've experienced here in the city on Chicago roads and the bike lanes too. And their reports will be plotted on a city map to track the trends, and this will show that they don't like the patchwork of bike lanes, they don't like the way they're set up, and maybe some areas need more protective measures, and then they'll show the elected officials what it's like to ride a bike in Chicago. Let's welcome the aforementioned Ben Harvey to Double Dallas. Ben, how are you, sir? Thanks for joining us.
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Did you take a bike ride today?
I did. I took 2 bike rides today. I want to get started by clearing up that you mentioned that there are a lot of car accidents, and that is not true. In Chicago in 2022, there are over 100,000 car crashes, which caused over $183 million in damages, over 2,200 severe injuries, and 147 people died just this last year. And we've accepted that as a fact of life. We've started saying they're accidents. There's nothing we can do about them. And oftentimes we shift blame on the drivers. I don't think this is all the fault of individual drivers. This is a greater problem with the city's infrastructure as a whole. So you talked about what my app is doing, and I think my end goal for this is we need better bike infrastructure. We need a bike grid. We need a network of streets that prioritize bikers and pedestrians. And this is not done through just speed cameras or changing the speed limit. This is done through redesigning streets. We need things like raised crosswalks and separated, protected bike lanes. Drivers shouldn't have to think about staying within the speed limit.
What percentage of the population, Ben, do you think regularly utilize a bike in the city of Chicago?
Currently about 3%, but there was a study done in Portland on their population, and it said that about 8% of people biked at all. 33%, I believe, was the number. We're not interested in biking, but 60% don't bike, but they're open to biking. But they're afraid because there's not safe, separated, and protected infrastructure.
Oh, yeah. I know. So there's a kid that, I remember the one horrific accident that I mentioned, and I will still use the term accident. It was tragic, but he was the drummer on that movie School of Rock, and he was killed coming home one night late on his bike and went through a particularly dangerous intersection where a lot of accidents had happened previously. And unfortunately, he was hit and killed. And it just seems like we hear this more often than not nowadays. This is Ben Harvey. He's a bicyclist here in the city, and he is testing ridereel, which is an app which will ask bicyclists to upload videos of scary situations. You're talking about more protective measures in the city. You mentioned a couple of them. Can you kind of dial down on that? What are you looking for to make the city safer for those of you that utilize a bike?
The streets are too wide in general, so that makes drivers drive faster. I don't want drivers to have to think about what is the speed limit right now, because that will never happen. I think stop signs are extremely ineffective. A better solution for that would be a raised crosswalk, which means, where the normal white stripes are, you just raise that up a couple inches and make it like a speed hump where the driver physically has to slow down. That's the only way that crashes, and I'm going to push back again, is not an accident, because we know about these things and we know how to change them, but the city refuses to do it.
How often when you bike through the city, Ben, do you almost get into a situation, a crash? Does it happen on a daily basis?
Multiple times daily, and that's what my app is about. I'm trying to upload every single time that something happens. If it was a couple inches different that I could have been crushed between 2 cars, it just happens all too often. And I think if you find anybody who actually bikes within the city, they can tell you the exact same thing. On my bike ride from work to home just 30 minutes ago, I'd say there's probably about 3 or 4 times where I felt, wow, this is really not safe.
Can you describe to us in general the route you take? What neighborhoods are we talking about?
Yeah, mainly take Halstead, which is really the only viable north-south corridor. I'm going from Lakeview East to West Loop, and there are portions where there is a painted bike lane, which offers no protection. In fact, heading in it, there's a very good chance that someone parked will open their door, and that's how a lot of...
I've seen that happen numerous times.
It's terrible. You always have to look out for that. The only way is to have a separated, protected bike infrastructure. And other parts of Halstead their bike lanes just completely disappear, and you're left going over bridges, no protection from cars. People are speeding. Just last week, I was going up the bridge, and there was a driver in a large SUV that was easily going 35 when, speed limit is 25. But
do you have the ear of any politicians, alderpersons, or the mayor?
Yeah, so I'm a organizer at Chicago Bike Grid Now, and we are a group that is getting politically involved. We do direct action to work with alders, get people's attention. And yes, we definitely have, I believe we have somewhere from 25 to 30 current endorsements by alder people that are going to try to get elected to be alders or even mayors. We have their support.
Are you uploading any of your near misses for the public to view?
Yeah, all my data is public on ridereel.app. Also on ridereel.app on Twitter. I'm posting them there as well. And I'm trying to make a giant map of everywhere in the city. Just people can upload any of their near misses, and we can just see a giant map of everyone's.
Did you say ridereel.com?
Ridereel.app. A-P-P.
Oh, okay. Ridereel.app. All right, Ben. Well, I'll take a look at some of those. I know they're horrific. I've seen plenty of near misses in the city, a couple of accidents over the years, too. Good luck with your app.
Thank you. They're not accidents. Have a good day.
I'm sorry. The crashes. And Ben Harvey, avid cyclist, member of the group Chicago Bike Grid Now, joining us.